And I don't care how old you are. You can be in your 70s, 80s, 90s, death to average. Live your life. Understand what you're capable of. Work towards that. And then push the envelope a little bit more.
Welcome to Impact and Fulfillment with Coach Mike D, where you'll gain practical wisdom and dynamic insight from amazing conversations to live your best life.
What's going on, y'all? This is Coach Mike D with another episode of Impact and Fulfillment. Pray y'all are having an amazing day and are getting to it. This quick message is something that I want you to internalize, to sit on, but then to also put into action. Today's quick message is simply this: death to average. Death to average. You know, not long ago, I watched like a little quick snippet on the business behind the water company Liquid Death, right? And the guy who created it, you know, he's a marketing guy and he understood shock value, etc. And long story short, he came up with the concept of liquid death for water, because what he found was back in the day when he was doing things with various concerts, a lot of the guys didn't drink the drink that was sponsoring the concert. They actually had water in that container because they didn't like the drink, right? And one of them, I think, mentioned the term liquid death or something with the actual substance. And so instead he was drinking water. But anyway, it was something to that extent that inspired him to think about a water company with shock value, right? And making the imagery and the packaging and all of that stuff really unique and different. But it's actually the opposite of death. You know, water is, kind of synonymous with life. So it's kind of a play on words and all of that. But what's interesting, I saw that, and then I thought about just the concept of death. And unfortunately, that's something that none of us will escape, right? From a physical perspective, we're all going to have an end date at some point. But I also thought through the whole notion that while we're here on Earth, a lot of times we get fixated with average blood pressure, average height, average weight, average income, average lifespan. You know, we use average as basically our barometer for measuring how we're doing. Okay. And that's just inherently embedded into us based on society. The average amount for a new home, the average amount for a salary, the average amount for this, the average length of this, the average duration of this. You're supposed to get an average of this many miles if you buy a new car. You know, everything is kind of predicated on averages. But when you think about averages are basically just an aggregate of all the things that are out there divided by the number. And then you get this number, this average, right? But when we think about us personally, you are a one of one. There is really nothing average about you because there's never been you before. And ultimately, when you expire, when your time is up here on Earth, there will never be another you again. Now, you may have children who are similar, right? They may come up with some technology where they can clone all this kind of stuff. Who knows what the future holds, right? But even then, there will not be an identical version of you, because even if you were perfectly cloned, that clone of you will not live your exact experience. So therefore, no matter what, you are a one of one. So I gave all that background because when we start thinking about averages, we have to adopt the mindset or the mentality of death to average, meaning my goal is no longer looking at average numbers and figuring out how I compare to the average. My goal is now looking in the mirror and starting to understand what I'm capable of and using that as the barometer for my action or my inaction, right? Like, that's the barometer for how I'm improving or where I need to kind of kick it in gear a little bit. It's not based on the averages. It's based off of what I'm capable of. And how do we get to what we're capable of? Hey, we got to try things. We have to step out of our comfort zone. We have to do some things that are a little bit beyond what we're used to so that we can kind of test to see like where we stand. It's like going to the gym. If you go to the gym and you have the same routine or the same workout every time you go, same amount of weights, the same order, the same intensity, and you just do that continuously over and over and over. For some of us, we do the same thing for years like that. What you end up finding in the gym culture is that you plateau. You no longer make any improvements. Because if you don't tweak things, if you don't change things up, if you don't adjust the intensity, if you don't adjust the amount that you try or do, if you don't do things at different times of the day, using different equipment, maybe even simply just doing things in different order, right? If you don't change things up, you'll never improve. And if you don't challenge yourself a little bit beyond what you're used to, you really never get an understanding of really what you're capable of. So what you end up then doing is, okay, the average person does this. I'm doing better than the average, so I'm good. But the reality is you are a one of one. There's a possibility you could be selling yourself short. Death to average. Now, there's another side to this coin. What you may find when looking in the mirror is that, what I'm capable of might not be anywhere close to average due to various circumstances. Maybe I have something that I'm struggling with that puts a limitation on my life, right? But I'm no longer measuring myself against the average. The average that I measure myself against is my capacity. So my challenge to everyone out here is to really adopt the mentality and adopt the perspective, right, of death to average. I don't care what they tell you about what the average results are for this. You look in the mirror and start to understand what you're capable of. That is your barometer. I don't care what they say. This is what you're supposed to make and this is what you're supposed to do. Okay, that's cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. Go take a look in the mirror and start to understand and think through what you're capable of. Sit in prayer, sit in meditation, do your own research, right? Because a lot of times, if not, you will default into the average. And at times there's nothing wrong with average because we're not going to be excellent at everything. Let's get that out there right now. You're not going to be excellent at everything, but I'll guarantee you everybody has the capacity to be excellent at something. You're not going to be excellent at everything, but I guarantee you that everyone has the capacity to be excellent at something. But that first starts with you adopting the mindset of death to average. It's not about average. It's not about what everyone else is doing. It's about measuring yourself based off of what you're capable of. And you don't know what you're capable of until you push the envelope just a little bit. So, hey, I know this is one that if you take action on, it's going to be tough. This might be one that in the process, you start cussing me out under your breath because you're like, I didn't want to do this. I enjoy being comfortable, right? But if you want to live that life of impact and fulfillment at the highest level, you must adopt the mindset of death to average. And I don't care how old you are. You can be in your 70s, 80s, 90s, death to average. Live your life. Understand what you're capable of. Work towards that. And then push the envelope a little bit more and enjoy the process. All right. Well, hey, make sure to go to Amazon.com and grab a copy of my book, The 33 Laws of Impact and Fulfillment. Go to CoachMikeD.com. Follow Coach Mike D on all social media platforms. Shoot me a message. Let me know what you think. Right. And I'd love for you to start using death to average. Maybe that's a hashtag that we need to start putting out there. Right. Death to average. And if you start using it, or if you come up with some insights on your personal life based off of this episode, shoot me a message, shoot me a DM, tag me, but share this episode out with somebody else who also needs to make the vow to commit to death to average. All right. Well, yeah, y'all be blessed, well, and wise, and have an amazing day. I'll holler at you. Peace.
I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and follow Coach Mike D everywhere on social media. Y'all be blessed, well, and wise.